In this short video, you'll have everything you need to launch a professional sounding podcast in 3 days or less and get set up to start making money. We also created a free downloadable workbook so you don't miss out on any of the important details and information we're about to give you. The link for the workbook is in the description box below. Okay, so roll up your sleeves and get ready because after you watch this video, you are going to have a podcast. Hello friend, I'm Veronica and I'm the head of marketing and show development here at the Pod Sound School. If this is your first time to the Pod Sound School, welcome. This is your go-to channel for all things podcasting and content creation. So make sure that you subscribe and come back each week for helpful videos. So listen. We're going to divide this video into 2 parts. In the first part of the video, you'll be with me doing show design and development. And in the second part, I will hand you over to Studio Steve, who is our in-house audio engineer and video producer. And he will teach you about the gear that you need and how to record and edit and finally publish your podcast using one of our favorite web hosts, Buzzsprout, which by the way is sponsoring this video. Buzzsprout makes the distribution and monetization of podcasts super easy with all of the cool features they offer to podcasters. And yes, the last part of this video will show you how you can set up your podcast to start using all of the monetization features inside Buzzsprout so you can start making money with your show. Before we get into the juicy stuff, allow me to congratulate you for making the decision to start your podcast. A few years ago, we started our first podcast, leading us to start our own business and get into content creation full-time. We've been teaching podcasting here on YouTube and inside of our signature podcast courses for over 5 years, and it's been amazing to see all of the cool opportunities our students and clients have gotten over the years because of podcasting. So congrats! Are you ready? Let's get to work. I'm going to help you plan your show. This is something that I truly enjoy helping my students and clients to do. First, I will tell you how you can validate or find a topic idea for your podcast. Second, I will show you how to find the perfect name for your show. Third, we'll talk about your audience. And fourth, we're going to put together your first episode or podcast trailer. First, let's talk about what to podcast about. This is something that you may be wondering. This is the $1 million question. Well, it's simple. The best way to validate your podcast idea is by doing market research using SEO tools, search engines like Google and YouTube, and social media. You want to know if your topic is in high demand to guarantee that you'll have an audience. The last thing you want to do is to launch a podcast that no one is interested in. You can start your research by simply typing your topic in the Google search bar, paying attention to what auto-populates. This will give you an idea of what people search for on Google. Also, pay attention to the People Also Ask section on the search results page to get an idea of questions people are asking about your topic. You can look even further into blog articles about your topic by looking at the comments section to see what people are saying about the topic. You can also use YouTube to validate your podcast topic idea by researching for videos related to your topic from different creators. Pay attention to how many views those videos are getting and review the comments for ideas. Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter are also great resources to validate your topic. Follow and interact with creators making content related to your topic. You can also use keywords and SEO tools like Answer the Public and Keywords Everywhere to check what people are searching for online the most, helping you narrow down your ideas to the final winner idea. Okay, let's move on to number 2, podcast name. When you're choosing a name for your podcast, make sure it is easy to pronounce, easy to spell, and unique. You want to stay away from encrypted names that only mean something to you or names that have weird pronunciations or spelling. This will make it hard for your listeners to remember and harder for you because every episode you will have to spell it and explain the meaning of it. You want to make it easy for your listeners to recommend your podcast. So make it easy by choosing a name that's simple yet memorable. And Bonus points if you choose a name from a keyword like how to make money online, marketing for beginners, and the working parent survival guide. You get it. And finally, regarding your podcast name, do a quick search in the podcast directories or use Listen Notes or Podchaser to make sure your podcast name is not being used already. This can lead to confusion and legal action if the name is already trademarked. Now, let's move on to number 3, which is your audience. Knowing who you're making your podcast for is important for many reasons, but the most important one is that you want real people to enjoy what you create. And when people enjoy what you create, this makes it a lot easier to start making money because you'll have an audience of engaged listeners who want to contribute to your cause, buy your services and products, and support the show so you can keep making your podcast for them. Also, planning episodes becomes easier because you know what your audience wants from you. The marketing and promotion of your show become easier too because you know how to speak to your ideal audience and you know where to find them. But hey, I understand. You're starting from scratch without an audience and you have no idea who your listeners are. So what do? The first thing I want you to do is to create an ideal listener profile. Open up a Google Doc and start typing details about your ideal listener. You can start with demographic information like age range, employment, or whether or not they're married or have children. And chances are your ideal listener is very similar to you. You can even give your ideal listener a name. This is a very simple yet powerful exercise because it will help you understand that you are making your podcast for an audience. So promise me you will not skip this step. Now let's talk about number 4, your podcast trailer. To launch your podcast, you're going to need a podcast trailer. A podcast trailer is a 2 to 3 minute preview of your podcast. It's like a movie trailer, but in audio form. It serves 2 purposes. 1, it creates anticipation for your upcoming launch, and you can use it to share your podcast on social media. And 2, you can upload and distribute your trailer before your official launch. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and the other podcast players have an approval process that can take minutes or weeks depending on how many shows are being submitted. So, submitting your trailer can set the approval process in motion before your official launch date. So, hey, Veronica, what should I include in my podcast trailer? Good question. Your podcast trailer should include your name or the name of the host, what the podcast is about, who the podcast is for, the reason why you created the podcast or your why, what are your credentials or your expertise or your life experiences, and the official launch date. Also, you want to ask your new listeners to follow or subscribe to the podcast so they can get notified when you officially launch. Okay, that's all the information that you will need before moving on with Studio Steve to record, edit, and launch your podcast. Remember, you can download the free workbook that goes along with this video by going to podsoundschool.com/workbook. Included in the workbook is a checklist of everything we just covered. Okay, now it's time to get recording and editing with Studio Steve. I'm excited for you. Good luck.
Hey, you've officially made it to my favorite part. But this is also the part that many aspiring podcasters procrastinate, shy away from, or full on run away from. And that's all the technical stuff. So many questions. What equipment do you need? How to use the equipment? How do you record and edit a podcast episode? And finally, how do you publish it and distribute it to all the different podcast players and apps? Many people quit before they even finish. Well, don't worry, that's not going to happen to you because in this short section of this video, I'm going to share with you the exact framework that we use at the Pod Sound School with our clients and inside our online courses that is designed around 3 main goals: achieving a high level of quality while maintaining simplicity and speed. You want to sound professional, but you might not have the time or even the interest in learning complicated editing and recording programs or about the deep complexities of audio production. You are also going to need to have a recording and editing workflow that is realistic and doesn't take up too much time each week to keep your podcast going. This is why you're going to love this 7-step process. And since we are going to be covering a lot, I've also included the 7-step launch process and checklist in the free podcast launch workbook. And make sure to save, like, and bookmark this video so you can come back to it as many times as you need to. Okay, are you ready? These are the 7 steps we're gonna take for a simple, professional, and speedy podcast launch. Setting up your recording space, best USB microphones, recording your trailer, recording remotely, creating your podcast cover, hosting and distributing, and setting up your show to start making money with Buzzsprout. It might sound like a lot, but you'll be surprised how simple and quick all of this is. Step number 1, setting up your recording space. This one's easy, and it's an ongoing process. You'll be constantly making additions and improvements to your recording area or your podcast studio. The important thing is to get started with what you have. And for this, you just have to try and avoid the 2 most common problems that can ruin your podcast recordings. 1, noise, and 2, reflection. With the first one, noise, we're talking about constant noise like buzzes and hums, things like computers, fans, air units, electronics, and appliances. And this is an easy fix. Don't record in your kitchen and see if you can position your podcast setup away from any loud buzzing or humming. You may find as part of your podcast workflow that you set a reminder for yourself to temporarily shut off the heater or cooler during the time that you are recording. Now, with the second problem to avoid, reflection, people also refer to this as reverb or echo. This problem happens in rooms that have too many hard surfaces. Think of the echoey sound of a bathroom, tile, glass, and wood walls. When sound from our voice hits hard surfaces, those surfaces reflect the sound back into the room, and this creates an echoey sounding recording that you want to avoid. The solution is simple. Soften the surfaces with curtains, rugs, and even acoustic panels when it's time for a full-on podcast studio makeover. Step number 2, best USB microphones. Okay, let's talk about the equipment that we are going to need to record a professional sounding podcast. All of the gear that I'm about to cover is listed in your downloadable workbook. The most convenient way to record your voice is with USB microphones. USB mics are great because all you have to do is plug them into your computer, and your computer automatically recognizes them and uses them with any program or app. They are also affordable, and many of them sound very professional. The top 2 on our 2023 list are the Samson Q2U and the Shure MV7. Both of these sound really great on both male and female voices. They perform great in noisy or at-home environments. Look no further, choose the one that is in your budget and you'll be good to go, I promise. Now, the other 2 pieces of equipment that you're gonna need are a mic stand and studio headphones. For mic stands, I recommend an inexpensive desk clamping stand like this one. It's easy to set up and it gets the mic nice and close to your mouth. And it is very important that you keep the microphone nice and close to your mouth. I like to do the 4-finger test to get my head set up in the right position. And it's also a good idea to approach your mouth at an angle to avoid direct popping noises. And the last thing you'll want to pick up is an inexpensive pair of studio headphones. Really, anything that's labeled studio headphones will do the trick. These bigger style headphones allow you to hear all of the nuances of your recordings so that you can ensure everything sounds great before you export your final episodes. Step number 3, recording your trailer. Okay, now that we've got our mic set up and plugged into our computer, we can record a trailer. Now remember, Veronica went over everything that you need to include in your trailer, and you'll find everything you need to craft the perfect trailer in your workbook. Veronica also made a complete video all about producing your own trailer, and you can find that on our channel by clicking on the I button thingy here or checking the description after you're done with this video. So when it comes to recording and editing a podcast, you have many choices. You can fall down the rabbit hole of audio production and learning complicated programs and become a true audio producer. Or you can choose the option that we suggest to all of our clients and students, and that is to simply use Descript. Descript allows you to edit your podcast like you would a Word document. And it's crazy simple to use. Check this out. I open up Descript, and since my mic is plugged into my computer, I press this record button here, and I'm instantly up and running. And you can see that as I'm speaking, Descript is also generating a transcript of what I say. When I'm happy with my recordings, I just press stop. And now I can go through like I would a Word document and cut out all the parts where I messed up. I can also drag and drop music pieces into Descript and do the fine-tune editing to the waveforms as well. And perhaps the coolest thing about Descript is this button right here, Studio Sound. Studio Sound is a master cocktail of all the important and complicated plugins or effects that podcast voices need to sound great and professional. It has noise reduction, compression, EQ, and more. So you don't need to understand what these things are. You just press this one button and your podcast will always sound professional. So all you have to do now is record the script for your trailer and add some music to it in Descript and click Share and choose Export. Okay, you are doing great. Let's keep moving. We're so close. Step number 4, recording remotely. Now, we have to talk about remote recording quickly, even if you're planning on doing a solo podcast, because there may come a time when you want to do an interview with a guest or have someone on your show. And luckily, this too is simple if I cut to the chase for you. Use a solution like Riverside FM. Riverside FM will give you a far better audio recording than you will get with Zoom. Here you see Veronica and I having a podcast interview remotely. She's using the Samson Q2U and I'm using the Shure MV7. And when we're done with our interview, we can simply share these files with Descript that we can edit as easy as a Word document and apply that studio sound to. Remember, you can find all of the links to all of these life-changing tools in your free workbook. Step number 5, creating your podcast cover. Okay, now the last thing we are going to need before hosting and distributing our show with Buzzsprout is a podcast cover. Luckily, there's a simple and easy way to create an amazing looking podcast cover, even if you don't have a graphic design bone in your body. And that is to go to Canva. Choose Create Design and start typing in the word podcast. Look at that, podcast cover. And Canva already has a ton of really great templates to choose from along the left-hand side. So you simply find a design you like and then change it to your brand colors and replace the photo with the photo of yourself. I have a video where I share some really cool features in Canva where I dissect 3 podcast covers from popular shows and recreate them using Canva. You can check out that video by pressing on the I button thingy here or find the link in the description when you're done with this video. Step number 6, hosting and distributing. The time has come, you have all your assets. Now it's time to upload your trailer, your cover art, and fill in all the information about your podcast with your podcast host. And let me cut to the chase here for you too. There are many different podcast hosting sites that offer different features and prices, but time and time again, I keep coming back to Buzzsprout as a top recommendation for clients and students. And that's because Buzzsprout has industry-leading customer support, competitive prices, and features that truly empower the independent podcaster. Check it out. The podcast setup process is simple. Input your information about your podcast, add the files we just created, and Buzzsprout walks you through the distribution process. And in only a couple of minutes, your podcast has been submitted to all of the popular podcast players and apps. You will more than likely see your brand new show pop up on Spotify within a matter of minutes, which means it's official, you have a podcast. Step number 7, setting up your show to start making money. Okay, and now, as promised, and perhaps what you've most been waiting for, and that's how to start making money with your podcast. This is the number 1 reason that I recommend Buzzsprout as a hosting site to everyone. And it is for their features when it comes to helping you make more money from your podcast. Let me show you what I'm talking about and help you get all set up to make money with your show. Okay, so of course, Buzzsprout has all of the features you need to run a professional podcast. They help you with distribution. When you sign up with Buzzsprout, you also get your own podcast website, and they also offer really cool embed players or embeddable players that you can use on any existing website you have. They have very advanced statistics or analytics so you can track your progress and know a lot about your listeners. They also have something called Magic Mastering, which I love. They call it an Instagram filter for your audio. This is another way to really have consistency between all of your podcast episodes. But probably my all-time favorite feature that Buzzsprout has is this one, dynamic content. Basically, this tool allows you to take any kind of recorded audio content that you want and add it as a pre-roll or a post-roll segment on all of your episodes. And over here on our Buzzsprout dashboard for our Pod Sound School podcast, we use dynamic content all the time We love it. There's really an unlimited amount of ways that you can use this feature. But when it comes to monetizing, a great way to do it is for lead generation. So if you have a freebie that you want to advertise and have your listeners download, you can insert that freebie temporarily at the beginning or the end or both of your episodes. If you have a holiday sale for any of your products like we do for our courses, you can announce that, and then when the sale's over, you can remove the ad. This is also a great opportunity to do promo swaps with other podcasters who may also be using Buzzsprout. And in terms of monetizing, this also allows you to contact people directly, businesses or individuals who'd be interested in advertising to your audience. And you don't have to wait until you reach a certain number of downloads. You could say, hey, for a whole month, I can put an ad for your product or your services on my podcast, and it will play on every single one of my episodes. And there will also be a link in there that people can click on. That's really valuable real estate for any business looking for a niche market who are your podcast listeners. But that's only one of the ways that you can monetize with Buzzsprout. Along the top here, you'll see monetization, Buzzsprout ads, which is a way to make money by promoting other podcasts on your show. They allow you to insert the advertisements of those podcasts at nice places in your episodes. You are in complete control of that, so you get to actually listen to the ad before you approve it. So if you don't think an ad's right for your audience, you don't have to use it. But basically, you just set it and forget it, and Buzzsprout takes care of the rest, and you start making passive income, and you're helping fellow podcasters. And I know that Buzzsprout is constantly making improvements to Buzzsprout ads and has big plans for Buzzsprout ads for 2023. And another really amazing feature that Buzzsprout is just rolling out, it's in beta right now at the time I'm shooting this, so go check, it might be available depending on when you're watching this video, is subscriptions. So you can now accept payments and publish exclusive content using Buzzsprout. And it's super easy to get set up. You could do recurring support, which gives your listeners an opportunity to support you monthly, or you can offer premium content, which is paid only, and you choose the price per month that you want to charge. And of course, we'll leave a message there. And you can see right on our podcast website, there is a place for them to subscribe and start supporting us for $5 a month. This can be a very lucrative, very amazing way to provide more value for your listeners, for your biggest fans, and also generate more passive income from your podcast.
And with that, you have all the steps and information you need to launch a show your audience will love and start making money podcasting. Remember to sign up for Buzzsprout using the link below. We get a small commission every time somebody uses this link. We're excited to see all of the awesome opportunities your podcast will bring, the amazing guests you'll interview, and the people you will connect with. You're starting a path full of opportunities, and we're grateful to be a small part of your journey as a podcaster and new content creator. And if you need some extra help, we have online courses and coaching programs walking you through the process week by week of how to launch a podcast. For more information, go to podsoundschool.com. We also created this list with videos that break down each of the parts that we discussed in this video, from your trailer to your episodes to your podcast cover art. Here you will find more helpful videos for beginner podcasters.